Hare Krishna. A warm welcome to all of you for today's GITA live session. The topic for the day is root of all fears. All of us go through situations, circumstances where we experience fear. Fear of so many things. It could be the situation around us, could be because of, just like in present times, we have a pandemic, what's going to happen, how things are going to unfold in my life, and life in general. So there are many things which bother us and can at times overwhelm us with fear. So today we're going to discuss about what is the root cause of all fears. Fears can also be of many types, and there are many instructions which Lord Krishna has shared in the Bhagavad Gita which can help us understand fear, the root cause, and also find a remedy. So before we get into a discussion, let us all join together. Let us offer some prayers, seek the blessings of Lord, and then plunge into this discussion. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namaha Namo Brahmane Devaya Go Brahmane Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we'll be discussing this topic, keeping three aspects in mind. The first one being bodily concept of life. I repeat, bodily concept of life. We hear this word quite often in Srila Prabhupada's teachings, in his books, in his conversations. What is bodily concept of life? To think and to believe that I am the body is called the bodily concept of life. It's a concept. It is not the reality. What is the reality? Reality is I am a spirit soul. I am eternal. I am Amsha of the Lord. Aham Brahmasmi. I am that Brahman. That's the reality. That's how when a person dies, all the relatives are gathered around that body and they're quite grief-stricken and everyone is crying. He has gone. What has gone? The person whom they have been interacting with, the body, is right there in front of his eyes. But all of them are crying, he's gone, he's gone. Who is gone? The soul has gone. So actually we, the Atma, completely aloof and different from the body. But we identify with the body. We think that we are the body. That's how we very confidently call ourselves, I'm an Indian, I'm a man. Actually, this is because of the bodily concept of life. Because today I am born in India, therefore I call myself an Indian. I think that I am an Indian. And as a result, my interest is the interest of this country. Again, let us understand from the perspective of the soul, the Atma. Somebody might say, what's wrong in thinking that I am an Indian? It is stemming from a concept that I am the body. Actually, we are not the body. In that sense, we are not Indians. Today I am born in India, therefore I call myself Indian. Quite possible, next life I could be born in London and I might call myself a Britisher. It's a concept. So one thing is a reality and another thing is concept of that reality. So I am this body is a concept and this concept is called bodily concept of life. So today's topic is the root cause of all fears. So if we analyze, Krishna also in the Gita says, Mamaiv amsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. We are his amshas. We are amshas of Lord. Where does this Atma come from? It doesn't come from thin air. Where did it originate from? Everything has some origin. So Krishna in the Gita says, Mamaiv amsho, we, living entity, the Atma, is amsha of the Lord, is part and parcel. Prabhupada translates that amsha as part and parcel of the Lord. Just like this hand is part and parcel of this body. And the hand naturally is designed, being part and parcel, to serve the interest of this body. Therefore, let's say if I have an itch, without my consciously thinking about how I should get relief of this itch, suddenly my hand goes back and I start scratching to relieve myself of that itch. So likewise, Krishna in the Gita says, Mamaiv amsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. We are eternal. Just like Lord is eternal, we being his amsha, we are also eternal. But the next two lines are very striking. Mana shashta indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. But because of the mind and the senses. Mind and senses belong to what? It belongs to this body. Gross body, the working senses, the knowledge acquiring senses, and Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body. Manas, Buddhi and Ahankara. So Krishna says, Mana Shashta Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. We are waging a battle with this material nature. All kinds of fears, all kinds of anxiety, all kinds of troubles, all kinds of struggle. It's because of Mana Shashta Indriyani. Krishna is giving us a clue, root cause. Although Atma is eternal, Mamaiv amsho jiva loke, and it is Sanatana, it never dies. See, all of us have fear of death. So Krishna is saying, although the living entity, the soul is Sanatana, but if it is having that fear of death, I will cease to exist. My near and dear ones will separate from myself. I have a fear. Krishna is saying, Mana Shashta Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. We are waging a battle with this material nature. All kinds of struggle, all kinds of fears, anxieties. It's because of Mana Shashta Indriyani. And as we have discussed, Atma has nothing to do with this body. It is different from the body. Because of the presence of Atma, we experience fear, we experience pain, we experience anxiety. That's why a dead body, you pinch a dead body, you burn a dead body, doesn't experience any fear. So bodily concept, Mana Shashta Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. We are waging a battle with this material nature. So the Atma, that's why spirituality is all about self-realization, understanding who we actually are. So Prabhupada says the first step in self-realization or in God realization or in spiritual life is to understand I am not the body. This is the first step. And all the spiritual practices are basically geared up for us to get into this realization that I am not the body. I am a spirit soul. Aham Brahmasmi. So, identifying with the body, I have shared this many times, just like you identify with a particular team and then whatever happens to the team, because you're identified with the team, if the team wins, you feel you have won. If the team loses, you feel that you have lost. So likewise, the Atma is identified with the body, and whatever transformations is happening in the body or in bodily relationships pertaining to this body, because of that identification, we also experience happiness or distress. That's why Krishna in the Gita says, Samadarshi, equipoised. A self-realized soul is equipoised in happiness and distress, pleasure and pain, in fear and in anxiety. Because he understands that I am different from the body. I am an Atma. I'm a pure soul. Now, what makes us identify with the body? It's very easy to understand that yes, Atma is different from this body. What makes us identify with the body so thickly? So one time there were a group of ladies who had gone to a restaurant to have a small party. They were having a party and all of a sudden, from nowhere, suddenly a lady started screaming. And all the other ladies became quite alarmed. What happened? All of a sudden, the party was on and this lady starts screaming. And then she saw that there was a cockroach on her sari. And she's so frightened, so fearful. She's trying somehow, screaming, yelling, somehow to get rid of that cockroach out of fear. And then screaming, yelling, trying her best to throw that cockroach out. She somehow pressed her hand, and then this cockroach landed, instead of flying off or going out of the window, out of that restaurant, it went off and landed on another lady. Now, as if it was her turn now, the same thing what this lady behaved, she started behaving. She started screaming, started yelling. She had tried, to just ward off that cockroach from her sari. And while this whole drama was on, suddenly this cockroach flew and went on the shirt of the waiter. The waiter was very calm. and composed. When the cockroach landed on his shirt, he just stood still, looked at the cockroach, very calm and composed, and just lifted his hand, caught hold of the cockroach, without any emotions on his face, without being fearful, without being in anxiety, just caught hold of that cockroach, lifted that cockroach, and threw it out of the window. Now let us analyze the situation. What caused the fear in the ladies? Now I'm sure superficially it appears that cockroach caused that fear. That whole drama, what they saw, the ladies screaming, yelling, trying to ward off that cockroach from the sari, it appeared that the cause of all this drama was the cockroach. Many of you may also feel that yes, it was a cockroach which led to all this commotion. But if cockroach was the cause, then even the waiter should have behaved the same way. Actually, if we introspect deeply, it's not the cockroach per se. It's not because of cockroach. If had it been the cockroach which is the cause of all this commotion, then waiter could have also been behaving the same way. It's the response, how we responded, how these ladies, how the waiter responded to that cockroach. So likewise, Atma is there, this body is there. Our scriptures talk about a sukshma sharira, element in our sukshma sharira. As I told you earlier, we have this gross body, manas, buddhi and a subtle body, sukshma sharira, made of manas, buddhi and ahankara. It is because of ahankara. It is not because of the body we are experiencing fear. It's not because of the manas, buddhi. We talked about manas, shashta indriyani. It is because of ahankara. It is because of that false ego. I am the body, that we are experiencing all kinds of anxiety, all kind of fear. So a self-realized soul who does not have this false ego, who has developed his real ego. What is real ego? Ego, sometimes we say, don't be very egoistic. We have a different understanding of what is ego. Ego means my identity. Who I think I am. That's called ego. False ego means a wrong understanding of who I am. So this bodily concept, I am this body, is false ego. I am a spirit soul, different from the body, is also an ego, but it's a real ego. I am part and parcel, I'm eternal servant of the Lord, is a real ego. So this bodily concept of life, which we have analyzed is the root cause, mana shashta indriyani, is also stemming from the fact that we have ahankara, false ego. And spirituality is all about purification. Purification of this false ego. Awakening of the real ego. Aham brahmasmi, I am a spirit soul. I am part and parcel of the Lord. So, all of us want to be fearless. When we go through situations, when we are perplexed, we have a lot of fear. Yes, stopgap, some solutions we can find. We could be fearful of, what if I don't have enough money? How will I survive? What if I lose my job? But, as I mentioned earlier, the root cause of all these fears, if we do deep within, is because of this bodily concept of life. And the root cause of this bodily concept of life is the ahankara, that I am the body. And spirituality is all about purifying ourselves of this wrong understanding, this false ego, and awakening our real ego. So if we want to overcome, if we want to come out of all kinds of fears and lead a life which is blissful, where we experience peace, contentment, and freedom from all kinds of fear, then we have no option. Sometimes we think that, okay, we can come out of fear of poverty by accumulating a lot of wealth. We can overcome the fear of disease by going to gym and keeping good health. Yes, for some time, yes, we can do it. But there are a lot of people who, in spite of going to gym, in spite of keeping good health, go through rough patch in their life where they may get diseased and may experience inordinate amount of fear. Suddenly someone dies in the family. All of a sudden, all that so-called peace gets completely shattered. So if we have to experience fearlessness, then the only solution is that we have to come out of this bodily concept of life, and for that we have to practice spirituality. Spirituality, the principles which Krishna has shared in the Bhagavad Gita, will lead us to the understanding that I am a spirit soul. This process of purification is what we can tread, this path we can tread in this human form of life. No doubt in human form of life, we can have many goals, many aspirations, but self-realization, to understand that I am not this body, is only possible in human form of life. So, leading a meaningful life, even in Bhagavad Gita, we understand that how in human form of life, after many lifetimes, we have got this human birth, and the special prerogative of this human form of life is to come out of this wrong understanding, this false concept of life, and that is what spirituality is all about. The second aspect when it comes to fear is we have to be conscious of the Lord, which Krishna in the Gita says, Man mana bhav mad bhakto, become my devotee. Now it might look a very simple instruction. Why Krishna is saying to be conscious of me? In fact, to be Krishna conscious is to have that understanding that I am Amsha of the Lord. He is my well-wisher. He is my father. He is my protector. If I am surrendered to Him, He will take care of me. This understanding is very natural outcome of a person who is genuinely God conscious or Krishna conscious. Krishna in the Gita shares with us a formula for being peaceful. We also call it the peace formula. So there Krishna talks about three things. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam. One who thinks that I, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is the Bhokta. He is the enjoyer. He is a real enjoyer. We are His Amshas. We are meant for His enjoyment. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. That Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, is sarvaloka maheshwaram. He is the true proprietor. I might have some land, I might have some property, I might have some assets, but these all are, I'm just a mere tenant. I'm just mere kshetragna, knower of the field of these activities. The real proprietor is the Lord. Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam. I am the well-wisher of all living entities. So a genuinely Krishna conscious person, God conscious person who is free from false ego understands that the Lord is the Bhokta, He is the enjoyer. He is the true proprietor. Everything belongs to Him. He is the true proprietor, including my body, including my senses, including my abilities. And He is my well-wisher. Suhridam Sarv, not only my well-wisher, well-wisher of everyone, including a person who is suffering miserably. For us to understand, when Lord keeps us in a comfortable position with everything going nice, it's easy for us to understand the Lord is my well-wisher, Lord is taking care of me, He's protecting me. But what if we are going through a very, very rough patch in our life, a very challenging situation? Even then, we should have that conviction, that faith, that Lord is my well-wisher. He is my protector. Just like sometimes we see a father who is overly attached to his son, is very kind to his son, is very loving father, but still at times we see that father reprimanding his child, at times beating his child, at times punishing his child for his benefit. So that's why Krishna says for us to be peaceful, not be in anxiety, not worry, not be fearful, we have to keep in mind these three things, that Lord is our well-wisher, He is the proprietor, and He is the enjoyer of everything. Gyatva mam shantim rachati, He will become peaceful. So one time, so happened that there was a person who had an ox, and he would use that ox to till the land in his farm. And one day, all of a sudden, he was not very well off. He had very little possessions. Ox was one of the prime possession he had. All of a sudden, one fine day, the ox died. So this person was completely distraught, completely shattered. His prized possession was snatched away from him as if. So he went to a wise person in that village, and he was crying, he was wailing, he was quite attached to that ox, and he started saying that this is the most unfortunate thing which has happened to me. Why did God do this to me? Now that my ox is dead, how will I till the land? How will I survive? How will I cultivate my land? This is the most unfortunate day in my life. The worst thing which could have happened to me. When he told this wise man in the village, the man looked at him compassionately and said, maybe so, maybe not. I repeat, the wise man said, maybe so. When he said that this is the worst thing which could have happened to me, the wise man said, maybe so, maybe not. So this person, when he heard this wise man saying this, he said, what kind of person is this? Does he not have sense? I am crying, I have lost my most prized possession. And this person is not convinced when I am saying that it's the worst thing which could have happened to me. It's very obvious for me. It's the worst thing which could have happened. What else can happen from me? As an old man, how will I till the land? How will I survive? And here this wise man, so-called wise man, is saying maybe so, maybe not. Anyway, he went back to the village and wanted to share this with his friends. This person has gone off. He's not understanding. Then, one fine day, because he was missing his ox, he found next to his farm a horse. And knowing that he has lost his ox, he otherwise may not have noticed that horse, may not have felt that this horse could be made use of. He caught hold of that horse and brought to his farm. And slowly started taming that horse. And soon he realized that this horse is much, much more useful when compared to ox. He can ride on that horse, he can use that horse to till the land. All the purposes which was being served by the ox, the horse is fulfilling that, and much, much more. So he became very, very happy to have horse with him, and one day went to that wise man, in fact, to thank him, to tell him that probably he misunderstood him. Yes, it's a fact that losing his ox was blessing in disguise. Had he not lost the ox, maybe he would have not thought of getting that horse to his farm and taming him. So he was very excited, very jubilant, wanted to thank the wise man. He says, this is one of the best things which has happened to me in my life. I now have this horse and it's so useful. So he told the wise man looked at him again with compassion, very calm, very composed, and said, maybe so, maybe not. By now this person, this villager, he says, there's no point speaking to this person. He is completely off. Maybe he does not know anything else. Only thing he knows is maybe so, maybe not. He comes back to his village and again, as a normal case, started living his life and got attached to that horse. One fine day, his son, young son, was riding on back of this horse. As I said, he started using the horse not only for tilling the land, but also for many other purposes, one being riding on it. So this person was riding on that horse and it was galloping, and all of a sudden it skid and the son also slipped from the horse back, and it was quite a serious accident. Since he had fallen from the top of the horse had skid, fell from the cliff. His leg got badly injured to the extent that it had to be amputated. So imagine an old man having a son, one fine day, riding on back of a horse, all of a sudden meets with an accident and loses his leg. His leg was amputated. He was very grief-stricken, very, very sad. How can this happen to me? Again, he went to this wise man and narrated the whole thing. He says, what you were saying seems to be right. This is the worst thing which could have happened to me. Had I not got this horse today, I wouldn't have seen this day where I have to see my son, young son, having his leg amputated. Again, the wise man looked at this person and said, maybe so, maybe not. What can this person do? Something which was very obvious to him, still the man is saying, maybe so, maybe not. May not be the worst thing. And some days later, it so happened that the war broke out and the army man landed up in that village and they started drafting. There's a draft board where all the young men are drafted in the army. And they started drafting all the young men in that village. And the son of this person was left behind because he was not fit enough to be drafted in the army. His leg was amputated. So the moral of the story is, many times we go through situations in life. It is very easy, if we are not genuinely God conscious, if we genuinely do not see the hand of the Lord in our lives. Even when we are suffering, there is a hand of the Lord. He is our well-wisher. Suhritam sarva bhutanam. We are not able to see. That's a different thing. Just like a child, when he is reprimanded, he is scolded, he is beaten by his father, he may not be able to see that it is for my good. When a mother is chastising the child, do the homework, sit and study for the exam, the child may not feel that the mother is well-wisher. The child may want to play, the child may want not to study, but still that reprimand, that scolding of the mother is for his good. That's why Krishna says, Suhridam Sarva Bhutana. Even if we go through rough patch, even if we go through a apparently an unfortunate situation, first thing is, yes, we all suffer or enjoy based on our karma. We get what is due to us. But even though we suffer, in that suffering also there's a blessing in disguise, because the Lord wants to correct us, bring us to our senses, want us to come out of this bodily concept of life. Suppose we are overly attached to someone who is near and dear to us. The relationships break. For us, we may be completely crestfallen, completely heartbroken. But that's a blessing in disguise, because Lord wants us to come to our senses. And at times, this material world is so designed, many of the lessons, life lessons, we don't learn unless we go through some miseries. That's why Krishna says, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati. One who understands that I am the true well-wisher. So as devotees, sometimes people say, why devotees also suffer? We see at times now during this pandemic, we have seen there some devotees also have got infected, and some devotees have even lost their lives. Now, superficial understanding is why Lord did not protect. That's a very superficial understanding of what is protection. Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Lordhead, He is not in illusion, He is not in Maya like us. He is not in an illusion that we are this body. He can see the reality that we are falsely identified with this body. And to shake us up, to bring us to the reality, to bring us out of this illusion, at times He may take His devotees to even troubled times, so that we can learn some lessons in life. So a person who is genuinely Krishna conscious, he does not have that fear, he does not get completely bewildered when unfortunate things happen in his so-called, I won't say unfortunate, so-called unfortunate thing happens in his life. He always has that conviction that Lord is my well-wisher. Whatever I am going through, it is due to me. In fact, by Lord's grace, I am getting a token reaction. And Lord is taking me through this so that I can learn some important lessons. What are those lessons? What should I learn? What is the Lord wanting me to learn from this particular situation? The devotee leads life with this mindset. And because of this mindset, knowing that the Lord is well-wisher, naturally he is full of confidence and is free of all kinds of fears. Srila Prabhupada's name was Abhaya Charan. Bhaya means fear. Abhaya means one who is fearless. The Lord's lotus feet is the true source of fearlessness. So when we surrender to the Lord, surrender to means, what is surrender? Sometimes we hear this word, Sharanagati. Surrender means to accept these three things. The Lord is the proprietor, He is the true enjoyer, and He is my well-wisher in all circumstances. Good is unfolding in my life, the Lord is my well-wisher. Something bad is unfolding in my life, the Lord is my well-wisher. If we have that conviction, then we will be fearless, irrespective of what happens to me in my life. So we'll continue this discussion. We will have some kirtans now. Request all of you to kindly enthusiastically participate, and post this kirtans, we will again resume our discussion with the third point.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Ram Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare
To recap what we have so far covered, first point was the bodily concept of life. It's a concept. It is different from reality. I'm a spirit soul, but I identify with the body, and that's the root cause of all our fears, all our anxieties. Mana shashta indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. And then we analyze what is the cause of that bodily concept of life. We analyze it is false ego, ahankara. And genuine spirituality involves dissolving that ahankara and reinstating ourselves in our true glories with real ego that I am Amsha of the Lord, I am part and parcel of the Lord. The second point we covered was reversals in disguise. The Lord is our well-wisher, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. Even apparent so-called unfortunate situations also we can see with a different perspective, knowing that Lord is our well-wisher. He is taking me through this so that I can learn some important lessons. So that's the second point. Now, the third point is, having talked about the root cause of fears, how do we come out of such fearful situation in this material world? As I mentioned earlier, abhayam, true fearlessness can only be experienced when we are completely under the shelter of the Supreme Lord, when we are completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, which is also called Sharanagati. We have Sharan means the lotus feet, and shelter, and Sharanagati means when we have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So, how do we take shelter? There are many principles. We have covered that in detail in one of our sessions, 6 principles of surrender. Let us only remember that Lord is genuinely our well-wisher. That's a different thing, that we are forgetful of the Lord, and we can always offer prayers to the Lord. Once there was a father and very young daughter trying to cross a river, and they had to pass through a bridge which was quite shaky, very dilapidated, very old bridge made of bamboo. And maybe because it was very old, it was very, very shaky, and before they got onto the bridge, the father told the daughter, "Beta, please hold on my hand tightly, because the bridge is quite shaky and we might slip and fell into that river." So the girl looked at the father, understood the father was his well-wisher, her well-wisher, and that's why she's saying, "Hold on my hand." The girl told the father, "No, Papa, instead of I holding your hand, you hold my hand." So the father looked a little perplexed. I hold your hand, you hold my hand, after all it's the same thing. So she asked the daughter, "What's the difference?" He says, "If I hold your hand, then possibly I can loosen the grip and I can leave your hand. But if you hold the hand, because you're my dearmost father, you will not leave my hand, come what may. Therefore, I request you to hold my hand." This is a very important lesson for us also. We all are conditioned soul, we are in Maya, we are in this material world. All the 3 things which Krishna says, which will enable us to experience genuine peace, we are violating those principles. We think we are the proprietor. We are trying our best to be enjoyers minus the Lord. And Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam, we are completely oblivious of that understanding. So we are in this material, but sometimes when we hear some good talk, attend some satsang, some good sense dawns on us. And sometime yes, it's right for me to surrender to the Lord, think of the Lord, chant the names of the Lord, be surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Some good sense may prevail. But when we are in Maya, that good sense also is lost. We are forgetful of Lord. So therefore, we should pray to the Lord, "Oh Lord, I may be forgetful of you. I may forget you because I am a conditioned soul. I am in Maya. I am in ignorance. Please keep me in shelter of your lotus feet. Please do not let me go away from your lotus feet into jaws of Maya." In fact, there are prayers in Bhagavatam from exalted devotees. The prayers like, "Oh Lord, wherever I may be, whichever birth I may take, let me always be counted among your devotees. Let me take birth in the house of your devotees, even as an insect, rather than taking birth as a Brahma and be forgetful of you." So we can pray to the Lord, "Oh Lord, I am in Maya. I can forget you. I can leave your lotus feet and go in this material world as false enjoyers in bodily concept of life. Please, please catch hold of me. Take charge of my life and always keep me in shelter of your lotus feet." We see such kind of prayers being offered by exalted devotees in Bhagavatam. When we see people praying, generally the prayers are for "give me this, give me that," some challenges, some problems we may be encountering, we want solutions for that, and we go to the Lord. But wise devotees who are in knowledge, they pray to the Lord, "Oh Lord, always keep me in shelter of your lotus feet." They know that when we are in the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then we can be genuinely fearless. Generally, when we are overpowered by emotions like fear, anxiety, worry, we lose our good sense. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Krodhat bhavati sammoha smriti vibhrama." Our intelligence is lost. Out of fear, whatever steps we can even take to handle that situation, that steps also we don't take because we are overwhelmed with fear. One time it so happened that there was a person he had drawn some money from his bank account. He had gone to the bank and he had a lot of cash with him and he was returning back home. Somehow, maybe the dacoits, they could figure out that he has a lot of cash, he is coming from the bank, he has withdrawn the cash. They chased him and told him, "Give all the cash, otherwise we'll shoot." They had pistol in their hand. "Give all the cash, otherwise we'll shoot you." So this man somehow did not get completely overwhelmed with fear. He gave the cash. He said, "Please take the cash, not at all issue, but I have one small request to all of you." So the person said, "First time we have coming across a person who is so willingly parting with his cash." So he said, "What is the request? Please tell." So he says, "See, here I am wearing a cap. When I return home and I tell my wife that I was intercepted by some dacoits and they took away my cash, she won't believe me. She would think probably because I don't want to give cash to her, therefore I am giving some excuse that cash has been taken away. But how will she believe me? So do one thing, this cap, please shoot some bullets in this cap so that she can see that yes, I was intercepted by some dacoits and there was some bit of firing also which happened, and last stage I had to part with my hard-earned cash and save my life. She will believe me." So the girl said, "Why? Anyway, we are getting the cash, no problem." So they took hold of his cap, put it in the air and shot some bullets. So this man looked at the hat and said, "I think you'll have to shoot some more bullets." because she will think that, what if I am a scared, coward person, just some person came and then I easily parted with my cash. So that she really genuinely feels that there were a group of dacoits and it was a fierce battle and I had no option but to part with my cash. So this person again relented and accepted that request and again shot and finally says, now no more, enough is enough, all my bullets are over. And this person says, that's what I wanted. Okay, now return all the cash and also return me money, pay me money for my hat which you have spoiled because of the bullets. And he took back all his cash because the dacoit had lost all the bullets from his gun. The bullets were over. So this is just to give you a sense, a devotee of the Lord who is abhayam, because he is surrendered to the Lord, even in so-called fearful situation which at times overwhelm people because of being overwhelmed with emotions, whatever positive step, whatever steps can be taken to handle that situation, we don't take. And we aggravate the situation. So a devotee of the Lord, when he is surrendered to the Lord, it is not that he is lazy. It is not that, oh, Lord will protect me, I can't do anything about it. In fact, being fearless, dependent on the Lord, he will, as a matter of duty, do whatever is required in that situation to handle that situation properly, intelligently, because he is not overwhelmed with fear. He is intelligent. His smriti vibrama, buddhi nasho, that has not happened. He is in a positive frame of mind. Avashya rakshibi Krishna. He thinks that Lord will surely protect me. And with that mindset, he goes about taking some steps to find a solution to the problem which is causing fear in him. So with these words, we'll wind up. I request devotees, whatever points we have covered, if you could share so that it could be a little bit of revision and even others can also make note of it. And we'll take up some questions. This question is from Anil Bhargava. Even after some dependence, full dependence is practically very difficult for me now on Krishna. Anxiety, stress, anger, lust, greed, attachment issues remain in some proportion. How to deal with it? As you rightly mentioned, that even after some dependence, these anxiety, stress, anger, lust, greed, they remain. It's a fact that as we tread this path, if we are progressive, then we'll see that these anger, stress, anxiety reducing. It may not become nil. Yes, it will become nil if you're completely 100% surrendered to the Lord, 100% Sharnagati. Just like example of Prahlad Maharaj. Is completely fearless, completely detached. So while we are on this path, we have to be patient. As you rightly mentioned, you're not fully dependent. We all are not fully dependent. And Krishna also in the Gita says, as you surrender, so shall I reciprocate. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamiham. As you surrender, so shall I reciprocate. So our inspiration should be, we should surrender more and more, and we will see that the Lord is reciprocating more and more with us for our surrender by blessing us with freedom from these things which you have mentioned here: anxiety, stress, anger, lust, greed. Only when we become pure devotees of the Lord, 100% pure, we will be free from all these inebrities in our life. Otherwise, we will have all these traces in our lives. This question is from Ajay Raj Sharma. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that those who are envious of me don't come to me. What, according to you, is the real reason that people find it difficult to surrender to God, and how can they be envious? There's a question, there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, Ichha Dvesha. Dvesha is envy. Now, it's a very fine understanding which we have to. Somebody may say, I am not envious of the Lord. I am chanting the names of the Lord. I go to the temple every day. How can I be envious? I read Bhagavad Gita. Still, we are envious, including me. The very fact that we are in this material world shows that we have envy to the Lord. Now, what is that envy? Envy means we are jealous of the position of the Lord. We want that position. Each one of us, if you see grossly or subtly, we have desire to be a center of attraction. We have a desire to be glorified. We have a desire to enjoy. Even when we come to spirituality, our desire is to enjoy spiritual life. We have tried different ways to enjoy materially, and when we have so-called not been successful, we come to spirituality to enjoy spirituality. Genuine spirituality can be enjoyed when we give up that enjoying tendency and get into the mood of being a servant of the Lord. And the Lord reciprocates our servitude by infusing genuine enjoyment in our life. Just like this hand cannot squeeze gulab jamun and try to enjoy independently. It has to serve the body, and then it gets its due quota of nourishment and enjoyment. So likewise, each one of us are trying to take position of the Lord. Each one of us want to be famous. We want people to speak good words to us. We want to be center of attraction. We want to control things. We want people to glorify us, speak good words to us. These all are actually due to the Lord. A genuine devotee is free from all such things. He wants to simply glorify the Lord, and he's not at all, he's least bothered about having some glorification for himself. So in that sense, because we want these things, we are in some sense envious of Lord. This question is from Virendra. Both ISKCON and HKM preach Krishna consciousness, and both Guru is Srila Prabhupada. Is there any difference between the two, as both have some same activities, that of preaching, book distribution and deity worship? Yes, HKM and ISKCON, they have the philosophy is same, the books are the same. As you mentioned, both are doing book distribution, preaching activities, but a fundamental difference is in HKM, we follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction, which is given in the July 9th letter which Srila Prabhupada sent to all the temples and the GBCs, that after his departure, these 11 devotees will be an officiating acharyas. They will officiate on behalf of Srila Prabhupada as Ritviks. But post 1977, 11 of them claim to be full-fledged acharyas. So fundamental difference between us, HKM and ISKCON, is that we believe that Srila Prabhupada is our spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada is our guru, whereas in ISKCON, there are many gurus, each of them having their disciples. So that's a fundamental difference, although the activities more or less are the same. This question is from Prince Kumar. Due to Corona, general people and devotees also die. This is also arrangement of the Lord. How? Please explain. So long as we are in this material world, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi cannot be avoided. Even if a person is pure devotee of the Lord, this body will go through 6 transformation. It will become old, it will dwindle, and one day even a so-called devotee will have to die. Just because a devotee has died does not mean that Lord has not protected. Just because a person has become devotee, he is not insulated from old age. So, if a devotee goes through some difficult situation, some health issues, or even dies, we should not conclude that Lord has not protected. As I mentioned earlier, the Lord is not in bodily concept like us. He is not in illusion like us. If even by taking away the body and giving another body, the Lord teaches a devotee some very sublime and important instructions, so be it. So that way, a devotee accepts whatever the Lord sanctions and does not see that if a person has died, it is tantamount to Lord not protecting such a person. This question is from Ajay Raj Sharma. Krishna tells that those who know that my janma and karma are divine come to my abode easily. How merely knowing this will help us go to the spiritual abode? Is it so easy? It is not janma and karma alone divine. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvataha. Tatvata means in truth. In truth, if we have to understand Krishna's janma and karma, we have no option but to be Krishna conscious. Otherwise, we will not understand in truth. All of us have superficial understanding of Krishna. A lot of people are saying Krishna is so and so, he danced with the gopis. They have some understanding of Krishna. They also worship Krishna. They also observe Janmashtami festival. But tatvataha. Today we are saying, even if a person dies, Krishna is the well-wisher. He is our genuine protector. This is tattvata understanding in truth. Otherwise, we have a very superficial understanding. Just because there's a death in the family, we say, why Krishna did not protect? So that's not tattvata understanding. So that's why Krishna says, one who has janma karma cha me divyam. It's not just about his birth and his activities. Everything about Krishna, his protection, his devotees, his dealings with his devotees, his dealing with non-devotees, everything if we understand in truth, then such a person will not take birth in this material world again. It is nothing but to be genuinely Krishna conscious. This question is from Virendra. How does the holy name spiritualize our material body to its original state by the mercy of Guru and Krishna? It's a very good question you're asking. The holy name of the Lord is, first we have to understand, at least theoretically, if not we have full complete realization, that holy name of the Lord is non-different from the Lord. Nam namino abhinnatvam. The Lord and His holy name are non-different. Mercifully, the Lord has descended in the form of His holy name. Why has He descended? For us. So that we can touch Him, we can associate with Him. Just like a fire. If you have to heat the iron, you have no option but to put that iron rod in fire. So if we have to spiritualize ourselves, if we have to purify ourselves, we have no option but to be in touch with a source which is fully pure, fully spiritual. And that is none other than the Lord Himself. And that Lord has come in the form of His name. Kali Kale Nam Roop Avatar. And simply by chanting the names of the Lord and coming in touch with that Lord through our attention, we can get completely purified. That's why the name of the Lord is called Chintamani. Chintamani is like a touchstone. Just like a touchstone can turn iron into gold, likewise this Chintamani, the holy name of the Lord, we are like iron rusted, completely forgetful of the Lord. When you come in touch with Nama Chintamani, when you come in touch with the holy name of the Lord, we also get spiritualized. So that's the benediction which the Lord has made available for us in this age of Kali. It's so easy that we can easily contact the Lord who is all spiritual just by chanting the names of the Lord. How the name of the Lord is non-different? If you take a 500 rupee note in your hand, it's a piece of paper. But it is not an ordinary piece of paper. The government has mandated that the value of this piece of paper is 500 rupees. You can transact and buy materials worth 500 rupees with that piece of paper. We have all this realization in our lifetime of demonetization. Not every generation has gone through this experience. That same piece of paper which was valuable the previous day after demonetization was just a mere piece of paper. And we saw a lot of on WhatsApp jokes, people eating groundnuts in that so-called currency notes. So just like a piece of paper can be very valuable, likewise, an ordinary sound chanted by us by the mercy of the Lord can be non-different from the Lord, because the Lord has agreed to recite Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. The Lord has agreed to invest all his energies in that sound vibration uttered by us. So it's a great science, and it's not some sentimental stuff. It is very logical, and it's also not only logical, that is what our scriptures, great acharyas are saying. This question is from Bodha Rama Rao. As per previous class, Jiva seeks for material enjoyment, envious of Lord. Because of that, it takes birth in this world. Even after taking birth here, he becomes envious upon others. What is the cause of it? So long as we are conditioned, we are not in a pure state, we will be overcome by lust, greed, pride, envy, jealousy. These all are symptoms of an impure consciousness. Just like when it rains, the water is pure, but when the rain water touches ground which is muddy, it also becomes muddy. It loses its purity because it gets touched with the mud and becomes muddy. So likewise, spirit soul, when we come to this material world, we come in touch with the modes of material nature, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, Satoguna, and our pure consciousness gets contaminated. Our pure love for God gets contaminated and it turns into lust. So, and in spiritual life, we try to regain back our pure consciousness. And pure consciousness is nothing but Krishna consciousness. This question is from Jyoti Takne. Very high expectation of a person can also damage himself, heart attack. One who could not accept the sudden death of a near one. Is this correct, Prabhuji? As you said, response is the bodily concept of life. Yes, we see that a person can, because of overly attachment, because of various reasons, because of ignorance, because of false ego, because of blind attachment, because of not having that understanding that all these relationships won't last in this material world. We can hope against hope. That's why Krishna says, Dhiras tatra na muhyati. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Just like this body is changing from childhood to boyhood to youth to old age in this life, it's changing. Constantly it is changing. We cannot expect a child to always remain a child. He will grow and become a young boy. He will not remain in that state. He will become a young man. So, tatha dehantra prapti. Likewise, this body will change. Tatha dehantra prapti dhiras tatra na muhyati. A sober person is not bewildered. So, all of us are not sober. We are in ignorance. We are forgetful of this reality. We are forgetful of the Lord. To the extent we are forgetfulness, to extent we are in Maya, to extent we are blind attachment, to that extent we will suffer the consequences. That's why it is said, Tamasi ma jyotirgamaya. Come to light, wake up. The more we are sleeping in ignorance, the more will be the pain, more will be the agony, the more good the relationship, so-called material relationship, more will be the pain when we separate. So this spirituality is not just about chanting some mantras, and it's a very, very meaningful activity we are doing to come to light, to come out of this ignorance, to come out of all these base qualities. It's a very big achievement. This question is from Sadhna Gupta ji. Coming out of bodily concept helps us in developing detachment from possessions inert and living. How do we deal with liabilities accrued prior to realization? It's a very good question. Just like a person may be earning well, he may have joined a good job, he may have good earnings, but as you rightly mentioned, there could be some bank loans, there could be some debts. Even though a person is earning and not borrowing money, but still he is liable, that's why it's called liabilities. He is liable to pay and clear those debts. So in the past, we might have in ignorance or inadvertently, unknowingly acted in a ways because of which we have accumulated some karmic reactions. So we'll have to pay for it. Just like if we have taken a loan, now I may be earning money, now I may not be taking a loan, but I have to clear my debts. That's a liability. So now that we have come to our senses, that's why Bhagavatam gives us a formula how a devotee should take all the so-called liabilities in stride. Tatte anukampam susumiksha mano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam. What does a devotee think? He thinks that, Lord, because of my misdeeds, because of my ignorance, I have acted in so many wrong ways, defying your authority, defying your superiority, without surrendering to you. And today, if I am going through some rough patch, I am suffering, it is your kindness. It is due to me. Because of my activities, I am today suffering. It is due to me. It's because of my activities. And he also thanks the Lord. Oh Lord, you're so kind. In fact, I should be suffering much, much more. But you have given me a token reaction. Isn't it a fact? Out of humility, we should genuinely feel that we have done so many mistakes, defied the Lord for so many lifetimes. I talked about the peace formula, Bhoktaram Yagitapasam Sarvaloka Maheshram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. Even now, after having become devotees, grossly or subtly, we are defying those principles. So consciously we can, if we introspect, consciously we have violated the Lord's instruction in so many ways. Forget about unconsciously. So devotee never complains. Yes, there are liabilities. Hrit vag vapubhir vidadan namaste jive tayo mukti padai sabhaya bhag. So when a devotee goes through some unfortunate situation, he thinks that it is because of his doing. And what does he do? Hrit vag vapubhir vidadante. With his heart, with his words, with his mind, with his intelligence, he continues to serve the Lord, continues to engage in devotional service of the Lord, jiveta yo, and thinking that it is Lord's mercy. It is due to me, and because of Lord's mercy, I am getting a token reaction. He continues with his devotional service. With that consciousness, if he leaves, that person becomes eligible for mukti pade sadaya bhag, liberate from this material world. So we continue with our devotional service. We try our best to not come in ignorance, and whatever past karmic reactions are there, slowly they will burn away. This process of devotional service is very powerful. Slowly it will burn away. We should always think that I should be suffering much, much more because of my acts. Lord is just giving me a token reaction. With that conviction, we move ahead. And this is not just to psych us, this is a reality. In fact, sometimes people say, in the coronavirus, so many people are suffering. Why Lord is not helping us? In fact, we all have to suffer much, much more. This is not just being fanatical. We all have done so many sinful activities. If we analyze what all is happening in this world, we are killing innocent animals just for our taste buds. We all should suffer much, much more. But Lord is very kind. If some miseries also come, it's just a token reaction. It's a fact. This question is from Prince Kumar. My father died 1 month ago. I am in distress. This is also arrangement of Lord Krishna. How? As I mentioned, in this material world, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukha Doshanu Darshanam. These are the harsh realities of this world. Each one of us have to one day leave this world. So one who can perceive that these are the real problems for which we have to find a solution, Krishna says such a person is in knowledge. So yes, death, old age, disease, birth is part of this material world. That's why Krishna is inviting us to the spiritual abode, to purify ourselves and come back to our original home, where there is no birth, there is no old age, there is no disease, there is no death. This question is from Ashwin Srinivasan. Is it correct understanding that if we suffer on consistent basis, the reason could be because of our past karma, and also if you're a Krishna conscious person, to make us remember about him? So being a devotee is not a binary logic. It's not a 0 or 1. We may be devotees, but we are not pure devotees. Just like there's a difference between white and black, and in between the two there are different shades of grey. So to the extent we are fully surrendered, when we are fully surrendered, the Lord takes charge of even our karma. The karma will not hit us. But when we are not fully surrendered, when we are this thing, to that extent the karma will strike us. Karmic reactions will hit us. So when we are fully surrendered or when we are devotees, at time the Lord, even if we don't have bad karmic reactions because we have to suffer, the Lord may, out of compassion, take us through some suffering to teach us some important lesson. And that is Lord's kindness upon his devotee. Otherwise, not everything we suffer is because of Lord kindness. Could be because of karmic reactions. We are not fully surrendered to the Lord. So for a devotee like us, we should always think it is because of my bad karma, and in some scenarios it is extraordinary mercy of the Lord that I suffer. This question is from Preeti Naran. Even though we understand this, why is it so difficult to disconnect from the body? Why do all the problems have such a deep impact on us? Why does this illusory world seem so real to us? That's why Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Dhuratteya. My divine energy, it's Krishna's energy. This illusory energy, Maya, is not an ordinary energy, it's Krishna's energy. Mama Maya Dhuratteya. And then the next line Krishna says, Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. What we want here is we want to settle down peacefully minus the Lord. Lord is just a means. We are using the Lord so that we can settle down peacefully. That's not the world what is designed for. Prison house is not designed to keep the prisoners very, very comfortable and peaceful. It is designed to inflict some kind of punishment so that they come to the senses. So if we genuinely follow, we'll understand that we are in a place, this is a material world. The Lord is very kind. He is coming, He is giving His instruction to shatter all the illusion, all that Maya which has engulfed us, to bring us out of Maya. And it is difficult, as Krishna says, Mama Maya Dhuratteya. But He also gives a solution. If you surrender to me, I will free you from Maya. So our goal should be, we should surrender to the Lord more and more, and to the extent we surrender to the Lord, to that extent we will come out of this illusion. This question is from Jyoti Takne. How to keep the count of rounds during japa? I miss it all the time. Please reply. If you are aware, in our chanting beads, we also have another set of beads which is called Sakshi Mala. You can ask the devotees whom you are in touch with or wherever the nearest temple is. There's something called a Sakshi Mala. We tie to our bead bag, and every time we complete one round, we track that using that Sakshi Mala. So it's not We don't have to consciously remember 1 round is over, 2 round is over. That Sakshi Mala keeps track of that. This question is from Gyu Dikshit. How can we be jealous of Krishna even to just dream of minutest capability of God, Krishna? There should be something in us for which we are the absolute owners. As I mentioned briefly, envious of Krishna, it's a very subtle thing. We still may be devotees, we may still going to the temple, we may be chanting our rounds, but there are traces of envy in our consciousness if we introspect deeply. So we'll come to an end today. It's already 6:30. Thank you very much for joining us. It was nice to have all of you with us today for this discussion. Look forward to having you again next Sunday, same time. Hare Krishna.